Hey, what's going on, guys? Kel Myrick with theeasiestbusiness.com. Sorry if today looks a little bit weird or sounds a little bit weird. I didn't have my things officially set up, my lighting, my camera, my mic, and all that stuff. But I haven't brought you guys a video in a while, and I wanted to bring you guys one, but it's getting kind of late here. Didn't feel like setting everything up and still getting the video uploaded tonight. So please forgive me for that. Hopefully everything will be okay and everything will go over just fine on your end. So what I wanted to do tonight was kind of clear the air on some things. I still want to teach. I'm going to teach, so stay tuned for that. But for now, I want to clear the air in the first part of this video. So there's a lot of people that comment on my videos that are like, great video, thanks for the lesson, or they ask a question here, ask a question there. Love it, love all of it. I try to answer every single comment. I read every single comment. So if I don't respond to you, I'm sorry. But I definitely try to. If I don't, it probably just slipped my mind. But every now and then I get a comment, probably once or twice a week, that's like, you can't make money this way. These numbers are unrealistic. Look, I'm not trying to provide super realistic numbers, because if I go into pricing details, pricing is different for everyone. I can't tell you in Oregon what you should be charging for labor. I don't know what you get material for. I don't know what your overhead is. I don't know what you pay for insurance, which is part of that overhead. I don't know what you pay your janitor. I don't know how many accountants you have on staff, how many receptionists, front desk ladies. I don't know if you your wife cleans at night instead of the janitor and you save money that way, how much you pay for your toilet paper, what your light bill is, things of that nature. So I cannot tell you how much to charge and what you get your materials for, because I don't look at your paperwork, I don't look at your overhead, I don't look at your invoices, things of that nature. I don't know how big your crew is, how fast they can do it. You get the idea, right? So when I put these problems up on the board, you just take my example of the problems and you just plug your numbers into the problem and everything will work out, I promise. But let me also say this, a lot of people on my comments, in my comment section on my videos, they're misinterpreting what I'm saying. So when I say, when they hear $1 a square foot, they think, oh my God, no way, that's way too cheap, right? Let me grab my calculator right here, just so, because I'm using my phone. Usually I use my phone as my calculator. Dust this thing off a little bit. Got a big calculator. I like big calculators. 12 bucks, by the way. Anyways, so I'm gonna put this here and I'm gonna show you some discrepancies that I've seen in my comment section. So I think a lot of people are misunderstanding. So a lot of people that watch my video are residential painters, right? And I know the residential side and I know the commercial side. And I believe strongly that the commercial side can only accurately be priced using per substrate pricing. For example, square footage of walls, number of doors, number of frames, square footage of ceiling, footage of soffit, footage of baseboard, footage of railing, whatever you're painting, that substrate has to be priced out specifically for your company. Strong believer in that. Residential, a lot of people price it by the floor square footage. I'm a strong believer that that's an okay way to price residential, and when I did residential painting, did it the same way. I don't think it's the most accurate in the world like the commercial side of things is, but I do think it's an acceptable way to price residential painting, because there's only so many factors you can really come across. There's only so many scenarios you can really come across when it comes to doors, baseboard, walls, ceilings, right? Like, how many different types of texture walls are there? Just a handful, right? You know, you may have some 3-piece crown instead of, you know, 1 piece. Okay, you go walk the site, you see the difference. But this is where I think people are getting messed up, because they're confusing residential pricing with commercial pricing. So let me just go into this and let me show you an example of each. Now, this is just an example. Don't take this as Bible, right? Don't take this as the gospel. Just take my word, see the simple math I use, and you can plug in your own numbers and realize that I'm still telling the truth, okay? So let's look at how residential painters would look at a 10 by 10 room. So I'm gonna draw the room here. Here's the room. It's 10 foot wide. Now, this is a top down view. Like, we're a bird and we're on the ceiling and we're looking down. This is the floor, the perimeter of the floor. This is 10 foot. And just for simplicity, this is 10 foot and this is 10 foot, since my lines aren't all the same. So a residential painter, to get the area of this of this square room, you would have to multiply the length times the width, and that would give you all this area in square footage. 10 by 10 is 100 square foot. So residential painters are watching my videos and they're saying 98 cents a square foot. Well, if you times 100 square foot by 98 cents, what would you get? I don't even need a calculator. You would get, well, you wouldn't get that. You would get $98. You would get $98. $98. You would get $98 to paint that room. And you're right, you could make zero money for that. But when you go on my video, and I'll make it in blue, you know, just so we're not confusing anyone. When you go on my video about commercial painting, and I'm over here saying, hey, look at this room here. This is a 10 by 10 room as well. And commercial painting needs to be done by the wall square footage of the room, not the floor square footage of the room. So now we have to look at this more. I forget how my mom did this when I was a kid, but I think it was like this. To make it look like a, I don't know. Anyway, to make it look 3D, right? I can't remember how she did it. But let's just say, I'm gonna erase this because that was just me being silly. But let's just say, so this is a 10 by 10 room, and this is from the top looking down, right? This is a 10 by 10 room, top looking down still. These walls, we need to know how high they go before we can figure out the square footage of the space, the true wall square footage of the space. So let's say they're all 10 foot high. 10 foot high walls. How we would get the square footage of the walls is we would add the perimeter. You could do, I usually do length plus width times 2, or to not confuse yourself with a formula, you could just add all 4 sides up. That equals 40. So perimeter equals 40 foot. Hope I'm not losing anybody. 40 foot. If you took a tape measure, 10, 10, 10, 10 around the room, 40 foot all the way around. Now, you need to multiply that by the ceiling height, because how high the ceiling is how high the walls are gonna go. So, by ceiling height. So if these are 10 foot high walls and we have 40 foot around, 40 foot times 10 foot is now 400 square feet of walls. Now I know if I paint all these walls, that's 400 square feet. Now, let's take our numbers here and do the same thing we did over here. Now this is where I need the calculator. Because remember earlier I was charging 98 cents a square foot, but now I got 400 square feet of walls. So if I'm 400 square feet of walls times 0.98, now all of a sudden I'm getting $392 to paint the walls in the same size room as I was getting over here, $98 by the floor square footage. So when I say this is how you price commercial work, and I give you a formula because I'm pricing it by the wall square footage, and I say 98 cents a square foot, that's about where I'd be for walls. If I had to price things just off the top of my head, 25 bucks an hour, $25 for a gallon of paint, just basic stuff, just spitballing, right? Not even looking at hard numbers, overhead, anything like that. And you come on my videos and you say, oh, that's not near enough money. I think you're thinking this by the floor square footage. You're not thinking this, because if you can get $400 per room just to paint the walls in the room, in my opinion, that's a pretty good price. Now, by the time you add base in, doors, ceilings, what are we getting here? 8,000, 9,000 bucks for a room. I know where I'm at, nobody's gonna pay you $1,000 to paint the room. That's just where I'm at, right? Maybe very few select people would, but that'd be a very, very, very premium price to paint one room. So let's not get it confused. I kind of wanted to clear the air tonight. I also wanted to come back to the whiteboard, teach something, kind of show the difference in residential and commercial. That way when you watch my videos moving forward, you'll know exactly where I stand when I say I'm pricing this by the wall square footage. Now, if I'm ever pricing it residential, I will always say by the floor square footage, because that's how it's referred to. It's the square footage of the floor space, the living space. If you look at it as a bird's eye view looking down, whatever area that these rooms occupy in this house, that's how they measure it, the length times the width of basically the structure. Now in commercial, they'll always measure the individual wall space for every room and add them up at the end and get a total wall space, a total door count, a total ceiling space, a total footage of base and things like that. So that's how I price commercial work. Don't get it confused in my videos and leave comments trying to argue with me saying I'm not providing enough money. It is not my job to price your work. I will tell you how to price your work, but you have to plug your own numbers into the equation to get the true answer. I can't give you pricing unless I know your material costs, your overhead costs, your production rates, everything about your company. And that would take way too long to learn. Everyone on YouTube's, labor rates, production rates, material costs, overhead. I just don't have time to do it. So I can't give you a specific price on that. If you want me to, I can. I'll have to take time out of my schedule, sit down, and it will not be free. I can't sit down with you for free and go over it. I've received a bunch of support from the coachings already. I have like 25, 30 hours worth of coachings on my YouTube link right now. I appreciate everybody who's reaching out. I have a coaching client I'm coaching tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be up around 50, 60 hours worth of coaching content soon. And I can just keep pushing that and kind of stay hands off with it. So if you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought. Hopefully all this works out and you can hear me and see me fine. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hopefully I'll be bringing you some more content soon. I got a couple of ideas for videos, but I'll see you guys shortly. Thanks.